Welcome back to Module 4. This is Lesson 11, Footnotes in Academic Writing and Law Journals. Please have your blue book with you during this lesson, as we're going to refer to it often, and note that you're not going to be using much of this lesson at all in your 1L year in legal writing, but it could be useful in future law work, and especially in journals. Let's look at our roadmap slide for the lesson. We will cover why use footnotes, where this information is located in the blue book, when it is appropriate to use footnotes, and differences in text versus footnote citations. Citing cases, and in that last part, differences in text and footnote citations, we're going to cover citing cases and citing journals and law reviews and footnotes, and the use of supra. Introduction to footnotes. If you've ever seen a law review, journal, or article, you will notice that none of the citations are found in text or directly following the sentence with a full citation. Rather, you see a footnote placed at the end of the sentence and the cited information contained below. That is the kind of citation we'll be covering today. And there's an example of how this looks on the following slide. This is an example from DU's own Denver Law Review. This is an article written by a DU student. If you're interested in reading the full article, there is a citation to that on the right. Here you can see that the corresponding sites around are found in the footer below, and you can see the format the footnotes take. So why do we use footnotes? Footnotes remove clutter from the article itself while still allowing each sentence containing information to be represented with a citation. Footnotes are different than litigation legal writing, where judges and lawyers want to be able to see cited material immediately and go to check its authenticity and applicability. Academic writing is meant to be read without constantly looking up cases and statutes to check or respond to legal arguments. Footnotes in the Blue Book. As a rule of thumb, whether citing footnotes or in-text citations, check the Blue Book for the proper format, no matter what you're citing. There are specific rules for certain aspects of footnotes in academic writing, but many citations apply the same rules universally as you have previously learned. Rule 1.1 generally, in law review pieces, all citations appear in footnotes, appended to the portions of the text which they refer. See also Blue Pages B1. Actual footnote placement, Rule 1.1a. Footnotes should appear at the end of the textual sentence after punctuation, except for dashes or colons. When we're looking at order of authorities or signals in footnotes, Rule 1.3 and 1.4 on pages 60 through 65 of the Blue Book explain this. Now, this is the same as in-text citations. For the most part, the citation rules for footnotes are the same as you've previously learned. However, there are some specific rules regarding case citations you should definitely be aware of. This is why you will be intimately involved with the Blue Book if you ever write onto a journal. I know, what a treat. Differences in in-text versus footnote citations, citing cases and footnotes. Major differences from in-text citations. We're going to look at a couple here. Number one, italics. Italics are only used for short form cites, in pin cites, or in footnotes. Otherwise, it's going to be normal plain text. And in citation frequency, that's where we're going to look to for indicators for using italics in footnotes, short cites. So Rule 10.9a in the Blue Book. In full case citations, the case name is not underlined or italicized, as we mentioned before. It is left in plain text. Short form citations of the case name are italicized. Now, short form citations are only used if the case is cited in one of the preceding 5 footnotes. Otherwise, a full citation is required. That means if you're citing a short cite to a footnote and it previously had cited the full cite 4 footnotes prior, you can use the short cite. But if you haven't cited that case in 9 footnotes, you need to recite the entire full case name. Example. See the full citation at the top of the page for Pena-Rodriguez, followed by the short cite 4 citations later. Citing journals and footnotes. Journals are often cite other law review or journal articles. So knowing how to do that properly in footnotes will prove to be useful. In the Blue Book, Rule 16, periodical materials is where we're going to want to look for this. The main components of a law review citation include author name in plain text, title of the article in italics, journal volume number and abbreviation name, look to T13-1 for institutions, first page in PinCite, and year of the publication. Here it is an example of a couple law review citations from the same DU Law Review article before. Supra. Let's talk about the mythical supra. Since law review and journal articles are often lengthy and repeat sources, we have the wonderful supra to help us out. Rules for supra are located on page 80 in the Blue Book, Rule 4.2. Supra is used to cite a previously cited citation in the article and saves the author from repeating the full cite. Supra cites to the first footnote the full citation appears in and includes a pin cite. So the supra citation requires the author last name, supra in italics, the original note number, and the pin cite. Supra can be used for all citations except cases, statutes, constitutions, legislative materials, restatements, model codes, or regulations. Example, notice how on note 34 refers back to the first time the journal article was cited and contains the main author's last name. Questions? I'm sure there are going to be some, as this is going to be completely new for you guys, but talk to your TAs or any member of Denver Law Review on campus. They will be more than willing to share their experiences. But don't worry, Law Review should not be on your mind at all until after you have survived your first year. Now please move on to the short quiz that has been prepared in this area, and we'll talk to you soon.